Hey everyone, we're back here at the Optum Care Community Centers. It's Ben Brock, and today we have another throwback exercise session. Today, Chloe is going to take us through a strength and balance class. This is one of my personal favorites because we both activate our muscles and work a little bit on our balance as well. You'll need some light hand weights or some water bottles or cans, and then you'll also need a towel. So go ahead and grab those items, get a chair, and we'll meet you right back here for a great exercise session. Before engaging in this program, make sure you are in good physical condition and do not suffer from any known disability or condition which would prevent or limit your participation in this exercise program. An examination by a physician should be obtained by anyone prior to commencing a fitness and/or exercise program, or initiating a substantial change in the amount of regular physical activity performed. If you choose not to obtain a physician's consent prior to beginning this fitness program, you should continue at your own risk. It is your sole responsibility to participate in exercises that are appropriate for the current status of your health. It is your responsibility to ask your doctor if this activity is appropriate before participating. This program is not medically supervised, and exercise activities are led by independent fitness instructors or employees of Optum Care. Optum Care Network of Arizona is not responsible for the actions or omissions of the instructors or other program participants.
All right. I'm ready to exercise. I hope you all are too. So again, we're going to start seated in our chair. And we'll just start with a little bit of breath and spine warm up. So sitting towards the edge of your chair, right? We're going to sit nice and tall, right? And imagine you're on an airplane, right? And you're pulling that seatbelt tight across your hips. I want you to kind of create that feeling by drawing those low abdominals in, right? Tightening your low seatbelt. Right, so as we sit tall, we're gently tightening that low seatbelt. We're going to cup the fingertips around the knees, and we're just going to start with a little seated cat-cow. So we're going to exhale, right? Roll back. Good. Inhale, extend forward. As you exhale to roll back, right, you'll feel that low seatbelt tighten, almost like you're pulling your belly button towards your spine a little, shoulders relax. Good. Inhale, reach the heart up, right? Reach the tailbone out behind you, almost feel a little stretch in the belly. One more each direction. And coming back to neutral. All right. From here, we're just going to let the arms hang down by your side, right? And we're going to do a little side bend, right? So we move the spine in flexion and extension. Now we're doing some lateral flexion, right? So think about keeping the spine long as you're bending, right? We don't want to collapse. Almost feeling a little lift through this waistline as you stretch through the top side, and lifting through this waistline as you stretch. Good. One more each side. Good. All right. So from here, we're just going to shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and then draw them down. Right? Up and down. So even though we're shrugging the shoulders up, we don't want them to come forward, right? We're still keeping those shoulders back as they're sliding up towards the ears and gliding away from the ears. One more. All right, we're going to start some circles with the shoulders. So we're going to slide the shoulders up, roll them forward, down, and back. So it's almost like we're rolling those shoulders forward. Good, we'll do one more this direction. Nice. And then reverse. So shoulders up, back, and down. Good. And the last one. All right. Grab your dumbbells. Okay. So, if you don't have any dumbbells, feel free to grab some water bottles, a couple cans of vegetables, just make sure they're the same kind and they weigh the same amount. Or you don't have to use any hand weights at all, right? You can absolutely get some work out of this just by using your own body, all right? So from here, we're going to think about collarbones are wide, right? Our low seatbelt is tight. We're sitting nice and tall, right? And today we're going to keep our palms facing in, right, as we do that bicep curl, right? We call these hammer curls. Right, so my upper arm bone is staying right along the seam of my shirt, right? So I don't want to be lifting my elbows up because then I'm working more of the front of my shoulder than my biceps, right? I like to imagine having $200 bills squeezed underneath my armpits. I could buy a lot of things with $200. Good. Nice, even speed up and down. We're going to go for 2. Nice. And last 1. All right. So for this next one, I like to we call it Zorro or sometimes Saturday Night Fever, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to take one hand and I'm going to place, whether it's my dumbbell or my water bottle or my can of beans, on the opposite thigh, right? And this is one where it might be a little challenging, so you don't have to use any weight at all, right? I'm going to do the first few without my weight, right? So I'm going to sit tall. My shoulders are still back. And I'm just going to lift my arm and extend it out to the side and back. So now you see why that Saturday Night Fever, right, comes into play. Right? Good. Now I'm going to add a little bit more challenge by using my hand weight here. Right? Right, so in this exercise, right, I'm working my core stability, right, by keeping my torso nice and still. It's making my abdominals work, right? I'm also feeling all the muscles in my shoulder, especially in the back of my shoulder, right? And I'm also feeling my tricep as I straighten that arm out to the side. Good, we're gonna go for 2. Nice, and last 1. All right, other arm. So either my empty hand, my water bottle, or my dumbbell, whatever it is, on the opposite thigh, right? Shoulders are back. We're sitting tall. My low seat belt still pulled in tight, and we're going to extend that arm out to the side, right? Now, lower arm is nicer, right? If we have any shoulder issues, if that doesn't feel great in your shoulder, you can always go a little bit lower, right? A little bit more challenge comes when we take that arm a little bit higher. If that feels good to you, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. Right, so feeling those muscles around the shoulder blade, back of my shoulder and in my tricep, core stabilizing. We'll go for 2. Nice, and last 1. Wonderful. All right, so from here, I'm gonna keep my feet about hip distance apart, right? Arms are gonna hang down to the side, right? Spine is gonna stay nice and straight, right? Or a neutral spine. I'm gonna think about really pulling that low seat belt in, and I'm just gonna start to slightly hinge forward. My dumbbells are just giving me a little bit of feedback, right? A little bit of assistance, and then coming back up, right? So as I lean forward and I'm keeping that low seat belt nice and tight, I'm gonna feel some weight transfer into my feet a little bit, right? So my legs are almost helping me, right? Control this movement, and you'll feel the legs and even the glutes activate a little bit, right? It's a surprising amount of work in the lower body. Right? We're going to stay down on this next one, right? Shoulders are drawing away from the ears, right? And we're going to go into this kind of low row, right? So my palms stay facing towards one another, right? Elbows stay close to the body. So I'm almost imagining trying to brush my elbows along my rib cage as I pull them back. Shoulder blades are drawing together, right? It looks like it's the movement's coming just from my arms, right? But it's really the muscles around those shoulder blades and in my back, right? That's pulling those elbows back. Good. We're going to go last 1 and come back up. Wonderful. All right. From here, we're going to work the chest a little bit, right? So again, this is one where you may not necessarily need any weights, right? And if it gets challenging with your weights, please drop them. All right, so from here, we're just gonna do a little bit of punching, right? So I'm gonna walk my feet a little bit wider. They're about shoulder distance. That's gonna make me feel nice and stable. And we're just gonna start kind of throwing some punches, right? Adding a little twist, right? And as you stay nice and tall through the spine, right, you're gonna feel a little bit of work in the obliques or in the abdominals, right? And I'm watching that dumbbell, right, as I punch, right? So my head follows the spine, I'm watching. Right, I'm feeling my waist a lot, right? Feeling the front of my shoulders, feeling my chest a little bit, my pecs, right? We're gonna go for 3, 2, feeling a little warm. Good, and last 1. Wonderful. All right, done with your dumbbells. All right, this last one, since we just worked the front of our chest and our shoulders a bit, we'll finish off by working the back of our shoulders and our back just with one more exercise. Okay, so from here, we're gonna reach our arms out as though we're Superman or Superwoman and we're about to take off, right? If it doesn't feel good to be this high, you can definitely come lower. That's all right, So from here, right, we're gonna pull the elbows back and you're gonna show me your palms, right? It's like you're trying to pull your wrists and your elbows back, right? And we'll reach out and back, and out and back. And you can reach as high as you feel comfortable, right? Or keep it as low as keeps those shoulders happy. Good. So as you pull the elbows and the wrists back, shoulder blades are squeezing together. Good. We'll feel a little stretch in the chest and the front of the shoulders. Feel that little bit of activation in the muscles in the back. Good. 2. Nice. And the last 1. Wonderful. Okay. So we're going to move on to our lower body. And for that today, we're going to use this little towel I told you about. All right. So you can use a kitchen towel. You can just use like a washcloth. If you have wood floors like us here, the towel is probably going to work better. If you're working out on carpet, maybe you grab a paper plate, right, as a little glider, right? Just something that you can move your foot along the ground and it'll slide easily, okay? So from here, sitting nice and tall, of course, low seatbelt in, shoulders back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work the hamstring a little bit, the muscle on the back of your thigh. So what I want you to do is gently press the foot down into the towel and you're going to slide it out, right? The toes are going to come up as your heel slides away and then pushing that heel down into the ground as you pull it back in, right? That's going to activate the muscles in the back of your legs. Good. Now, the harder you push that foot into that towel or that paper plate, the more work you're going to feel in the back of the leg. Good. Nice and even speed, in and out. 2. Let's go 1 more. Nice. Now, before we switch sides, we're going to go right into a little bit of hip abduction, right? So we're going to work the muscles on the outside of the hip. So from here, you're going to keep your leg in this shape. I'm going to keep this 90 degrees behind my knees, right? And we're just going to gently press into the towel and you're going to slide the leg out to the side and bring it back in, right? Out and in, making sure we're not pushing the foot out this way, right? It's almost like you're trying to press your knee into some resistance, right? And the foot is just following. Good. We're going to go for 2. Nice. And last 1. And come back to center. All right. Now we can switch feet with that towel. All right. So we're gently pressing the foot into the towel or the paper plate, whichever you have, right? And we're going to slide the leg away. The toes lift up as the heel slides away and then drag that heel back in, right? The more you push into, right, your little makeshift glider, the more you're going to feel in that hamstring. Nice. Good. And just because we're working muscles in the leg means that our shoulders can relax, right? So shoulders melt down. Good. Let's do 1 more. All right. And now we're going to keep that shape of the leg. So your leg stays at 90 degrees behind the knee, right? And we're just going to slide out and in. Perfect. Nice. All right. And making sure the foot's not guiding the movement. We're almost imagining pressing the knee, side of the knee into some resistance. Good. Let's go 3, 2. Nice. And last 1. Perfect. Okay, you're just going to slide that little towel or plate or whatever you have under your chair. Make sure it's out of the way so we don't slip on it. All right, so feet are going to be about shoulder width, right? Toes can be slightly out to the side, right? We're sitting towards the edge of our chair. I want your knees stacked over your ankles. Okay, and from here, we're just going to do those little leg presses into the floor, right? So we already practiced this a little bit with our hamstring curl, right? But as you push your feet down into the ground, you're going to feel your quadriceps and your glutes activate a little bit, maybe even some in the belly. Good. Nice. Now, this may be enough for you here, right? So feel free to stay here if this is enough a challenge, right? We can add on, right? As you gently press feet in the floor, we're going to hinge forward a little bit, right? And back. So hinge forward a little bit as you press your feet into the floor and back. You should feel the whole lower body waking up. Good. This next, and again, if this is enough for you here, this could be as far as you go, right? Maybe you feel strong enough to when you hinge forward and you feel that weight shift over your feet, you're going to stand all the way up. And of course, we're going to take it into some squats. If you know me, you know I love squats, right? So I like to use my arms as counterbalance, right? So as I'm reaching the hips back, and again, it doesn't have to be big, right? As the hips reach back, the arms reach forward. It's like a little counterbalance, right? Keeping that weight balanced right over the middle of your foot. We're going to go for 2. Good. And last one, squeezing at the top. Wonderful. All right, we're going to finish with a little bit of balance and some calf work. So walk to the back of your chair. All right, so we're going to have fingertips on the chair for a little bit of balance. And now I would like everybody to stay behind their chair just for safety, but I'm going to come a little bit to the side just so it's easier for you to, whoopsies, dumbbells in the way there. See what I'm doing. All right, so from here, let's make sure the feet are hip distance apart, right? So you go about 4 to 6 inches between the feet, right? And I want you to think about balancing your weight right over the arch of your foot, right? So feel equal pressure, right? In the toes and the heels, right? Think about drawing that low seat belt in. Your tailbone is a little bit heavy. We're lengthening up through the crown of the head. The shoulders are melting away from the ears, right? And from here, we're just going to shift your weight on toes a little bit more so the heels just gently lift off the floor, right? They don't have to come up very high. And if that's enough for you, that's great, right? If you'd like to go a little bit higher, you definitely can, coming into that nice full calf raise, right? And as you lift, right, doing your best to keep your ankles nice and straight, right? Not letting them roll out to the side, right? It's almost like if you had an orange between your ankles and you didn't want to drop the orange, right, when you lift it up. Right, let's go for 2. Nice. And last one. All right, feet solidly on the floor, standing tall. I want you to secretly shift your weight onto your inside foot, right? And I want you to then really stand tall through that leg that's holding your weight. And you're going to maybe just lift the heel up, right? Lighten the heel on the floor, right? And you're using your chair for balance. Ideally, everybody's straight behind their chair, right? And now maybe this is enough of balance for you, right? And you can carefully, if you feel comfortable, take your fingers off the chair, right, for your balance, right? If you want to challenge that balance a little bit more, maybe you just hover the toes above the floor and you have your floor there, right, for that little toe touch, right, if you need it, right? Fingers can stay on the chair. Maybe fingers come off the chair, right? We're standing tall through that leg. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Nice. All right. So we'll do the other leg. All right. Standing evenly on both feet. We're going to shift your weight onto the opposite leg secretly, right? So I can almost not even see that happen, right? And then you're going to lighten the heel, right? Maybe that's enough of a challenge for you, right? Maybe you lift the foot up a little higher so the toes are just touching. Maybe you float the foot all the way up, right? And just use that toe touch on the floor if you need it. If you feel comfortable, maybe you lift your fingers off the floor. Good, stand tall through that supporting leg. You'll probably feel your ankle and your foot making those little micro adjustments, right? For you to maintain that balance. Good, let's go for 3. Ooh, 2. Good, and last one, and relax. Nice, shake it out. All right, so from here, we're just gonna take a nice breath in, and down, and again, in. One more for good measure. And down. All right. Good work, you guys. Proud of you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you back soon.